Hey, this is Ken for the Information Nation, and I'm bringing you more stuff. You know, you see an article like this on IJ Review, and it does your heart good. Gives you hope in the next generation. You got an 18-year-old young lady who has become the youngest state lawmaker in America. And what's interesting about this, we'll play the video in a minute. What's interesting on this is her name is Saira Blair. She's a constitutional conservative, and she was elected to West Virginia's House of Delegates in a landslide. And she is the state's youngest lawmaker and the youngest state lawmaker in the country. Now, what I found interesting about this is you come down here, and it says, Miss Blair campaigned on a pledge to work to reduce certain taxes on business. She also holds an anti-abortion and pro-gun positions. She's also a member of and endorsed by the NRA. And I find it interesting that we have a young lady like this, 18 years old, who went out, saw a need, and she's filling that need. Now, a lot of people will say, well, what good is that going to do? She doesn't have a college education or this or that. Listen to the video, and then go ahead and make up your mind.
Profile. Political editor Lisa Desjardins introduces us to a first-time candidate and frontrunner who is only 18 years old.
Really?
I mean, there was 4,000.
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon, and the Blair family's dining room table is a tiny battleground.
We're doing another round of handwritten letters that will go out that'll hit right before the election to the district, about 4,000 of them this time.
4,000 handwritten campaign letters, handwritten by a person whose age group communicates mostly with keyboards. This is why 18-year-old Saira Blair may become the youngest person ever to serve in the West Virginia state legislature and one of the youngest ever in U.S. history.
They'll probably throw it away 15 seconds later, but at least, they've seen that I put the work in and that, I really do care about their vote and making sure that they get out to vote.
Would you guys want to do the elementary school like you did for the primary?
Okay.
Saira and her homegrown team scored a huge win in the spring. She won the Republican primary for state delegate by 144 votes, beating the incumbent by actually touting her age.
West Virginia has had the same population since about 1980. We're the only state that's going to end up decreasing population soon. And one of the biggest problems is people my age, they get their high school education here, they get their college education here, and then they leave because they can't find a good paying job. And so I want to be a part of making sure that my generation stays in West Virginia, and we help to cultivate, economic growth that right now isn't there.
She knew full well what she was getting into when she stepped into the arena. No, I'm not concerned about any of that.
Craig Blair is father and campaign manager both. Oh, and he's also the area's state senator. So Saira grew up in his campaigns, watching him win. Then this spring, he watched her.
I'd been doing radio for commentary that night on the election, so I couldn't actually be there. But I was able to be the one that got to Blair.
I wasn't running because I thought he'd done a poor job. I was running because I wanted to represent my generation, and I wanted to represent the people of Berkeley and Morgan County.
The two counties are a mix of needs. They're on the eastern edge of West Virginia. Maryland's down the road in one direction and the Appalachian Mountains in the other. Those in the eastern part of this district earn incomes well above state average. Those near the mountains earn well below. In all, Saira would represent about 18,000 people.
Garrett. Yes,
ma'am.
Her campaign is run on free help from friends and a roughly $17,000 budget. $3,600 of that came from Saira's college fund, money earned from working on the family's apple orchard.
So it's kind of taking a gamble with it when I put it into my campaign, but I think it was well worth it. And I received a lot of scholarships for college, so I was able to still manage to pay for both.
I think it just not makes you grow up faster, but it just puts your life in perspective. I'd rather be doing this than be out with my friends.
You may wonder how Saira plans to be a lawmaker and full-time student. If she wins, she'll only attend college in fall semesters. reserving the springs for lawmaking. That's when the legislature is in session.
Amber, it's your time to get involved.
I know.
She doesn't always sound like it, but this is a teenager. Just over a year ago, this kind of command was not there for Saira.
Up until really my junior year of high school, I was terrified of public speaking. Absolutely terrified of it. I couldn't do 3 sentences without actually getting a panic attack and sweating and turning red. And so it was nerve-wracking every time that I had to go in front of a crowd. And it definitely helped me grow as a person. I've gotten better at it, and it's not quite as difficult as it ever used to be.
She'll get plenty more practice if she wins, and Saira is the front runner in her delegate race, an 18-year-old front runner who has one more surprise to her. You can be skeptical, but she insists that after college, she doesn't want to be a politician.
I'm only worried about November 4th at the moment. It's too soon to say, but I'm going to school for a major in economics, and I'd like to be a financial advisor. That's where I see myself in 10 years, not on the steps of Washington, D.C. by any means.
Lisa Desjardins, PBS NewsHour.
All right. Well, she did win her election, and she's now state representative-elect Saira Blair, and she's going to go to college, and she's going to do her thing. And it gives me a lot of hope for this country when you see young people like that. And there was one other thing that I wanted to point out, and maybe the Republicans and the Democrats could learn something from this, and that's the fact that she ran her entire campaign on $17,000. Now, granted, it's a smaller district than a lot of them, but the point is $17,000. Not the $100 million, $200 million campaign, a small grassroots campaign right out of her house. So kudos to Saira Blair. I hope she does a wonderful job. Stick to your conservative constitutional values, and maybe one day we will see her in Washington. You never know, because we need good economists there. We all know that. Hey, this has been Ken for the Information Nation, bringing you more stuff. And, hey, I'm glad you could be here. Remember to subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Even if you didn't like the video, give us a thumbs up anyhow. We need your support, and we're not going to spend campaign money on getting it. We'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.